Good evening. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Dave. I've been an amateur photographer since junior high school. I actually did photography for the yearbook and the newspaper, and I did also work for grants in the university where I did photography for videography for professors and things. So I've been an amateur photography for many, many, many years.
Perhaps, do you want to share what makes a good photo?
I guess I would have three basic tips for an amateur taking a good picture. One is composition, framing the picture directly. A lot of people just grab a camera and start shooting long distance, very square, and you have to take a minute, look at what you're trying to take the picture of, and make sure you're just not snapping and shooting. Use a little bit of the zoom, take an angle, something other than just a nice square shot. Make sure it's not too much sky, not too much street. And at the end of the day, you can take this much of the picture out or this much of the picture out, and it doesn't mean anything to you, then you're getting your composition wrong. So that's probably the first thing. Second thing is lighting. I think a lot of people know this and they ignore it, and that is you can't have light coming into your camera, whether it's the sun or light in a office or inside a building. And that goes even if you want to take a great shot in the morning. You would need to have it sunrise pointing at your subject and sunset pointing at your subject and never into the camera. And then I guess the third thing would be to be patient when you're trying to take a great picture. Wait for the subject matter to be smiling, have the right activity that you want. Wait for the person or the car to get out of the way. Wait for the cloud to move out of the way for the sun to come in. So be patient to go capture that great shot.
The Merlion project essentially aims to stir up sentimental feelings about Singapore. The target audience are overseas Singaporeans. I want these people to feel that there is always part of home in their hearts, and the Merlion is the metaphor for home. Having seen the poster, do you have any feedback on it?
Yeah, I'll give you my commentary. First, I think it's well done. I get the idea and I understand that. However, the first thing that came out is the tagline. While it's an interesting tagline and I get the metaphor, I think you're mixing the visual, but then your tagline uses a different sense. So visual picture and then your tagline says something about hearing. So I'm not sure that was the best. Maybe some more thought could have been put into that. I think the use of the merlion is great. It's iconic. It's Singapore. It's very, very well done. And I actually think that the method that you're using, taking something from Singapore and putting it around the world is good because people relate to that. I mean, in pictures around the world, people take plushy toys and things around in their travels, and so people can relate to that. I think that's pretty well done. I think that one other thing that I understand the probably constraints of time and that it's all EU, and and something around the world would have been a little bit more interesting, as well as maybe something that was more of a landscape and not a cityscape. So you put into the country, and it probably would relate to more people rather than this being a little bit more EU specific. I think the photography is well done for an amateur. The composition's really done very well. Of the four pictures here, the one merlion is out of focus and the other three are in focus, so that just is a technical issue there. But I think overall it gets the job done. It's well done.
On the first look, it looks like an ordinary photo of a merlion taken in different cities around the world. However, if one thinks about it, Singapore has come a really long way. Although we cannot find a merlion residing in these cities, we can usually find Singaporeans residing in most major cities around the world. Singapore have a global presence despite being relatively small, which is pretty impressive considering that you cannot say the same thing for most countries of her size.